Rob, we now know who we're going to be facing in the semi-finals. It's been a weird few days, but Bath, local derby in the semi-finals, couldn't ask for better than that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic semi-final. I think first and foremost, obviously the news that Sale have had, I think, another 6 or 8 positive tests today. I think the first thing it's important to say is just hope that nobody becomes seriously ill up at Sale, that all the players and staff involved get well as soon as possible with very little symptoms, and obviously that their families and loved ones and are all safe and well as well, and that within 2 or 3 weeks that group are all better and everyone can move on up at Sale. So tough for Sale, at this stage of the season to get kind of ruled out of a possible top 4. But obviously, as you say, this is going to be a weird season where you're just going to move on very quickly. So now we have to move on very quickly to Bath. Good to know today, because we've got another full training day today. Fortunately, we kind of did have some kind of expectation earlier in the week that it would be tough, given the scale of the number of people at Sale who'd already had infections, for them to come through without picking up any more positive tests was going to be tough for them. That's obviously what's happened. So a good deal of our prep is in place. We can just really ram that home today. But it's been a good couple of days, because it has enabled us with the players to talk about ourselves a lot, while kind of already moving them towards getting prepared for Bath, probably without them really realising it. So we feel pretty pleased with where we are. We can wrap things up today, and that will leave us fully loaded and ready to go for the Bath fixture.
I say the Sale situation is a stark reminder of just how COVID is on the horizon everywhere, and with big weeks ahead, you've got to keep your guys and your staff in the best possible place.
I'm not one of the people who want to necessarily go after Sale too much about this, because there is a reality. I know what the scenario is now. We're one of the 20. Exeter's one of the 20 hotspots in the country at the moment, largely based around the university population. And obviously, what we've got to hope is that it kind of becomes self-contained there, and that that it is what it is within the university environment. But there is a reality. The university is based in the centre of the town here. A lot of accommodation in the middle of town. We are a little bit like Sale with Manchester. It's difficult to keep the two things separate. It's virtually impossible to do, and we've got to just work very hard to keep reminding the players that it goes beyond what people think. I think a lot of people think that the only way that the contact that will happen will be if they all turn up at some party or they go to some pub. That's not really the case. You've got to avoid a lot of things. You've got to avoid eating places, restaurants, shops, cafes. There's a lot of very innocent things that rugby players tend to do on their days off or on an evening or in an afternoon, that they've just got to be really, really, really thoughtful of, and just avoid places, but also stay red hot on the hand sanitizer and the face mask when they're away from the club. And also they've got to extend that to their families as well. So I'm very aware that we are there but by the grace of God kind of thing, that we haven't had more players, because right here and now we're at a dangerous time for picking up COVID infections.
2 huge weeks ahead, maybe 3, Rob, but you as coaches and players must get excited about it all and what can be achieved this year.
Yeah, I mean, I say to the players on a regular basis, no one will ever win a competition like this again, and we've got the option at the moment to still win 2. This will be something that hopefully, and I think we've got to hope and pray for this, will never happen again. Hopefully you'll never see a final played in front of closed doors ever again. We've got to hope for that, because obviously that's what we want the country to get back to. Hopefully you'll never have a scenario where everything gets crammed into the last few weeks of a season, where you're playing midweek games, back-to-back games in Europe, back-to-back finals. It's going to be some special experience, and to come through it as a player is something you can talk about and for the rest of your rugby playing career and for the rest of your life. And I know for a fact that if we have the 3 weeks we really want and we really need as a club, this will be something that will live with me for the rest of my life. And as a group, we'll always be able to talk about this, and we'll always be able to look back on it with a great deal of pride.
You talk about all those games coming back to back. 57 players you've used since lockdown restart. Whole squad effort, but now your front line, your front guns will really come to the fore, and they're hopefully ready.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they should be well prepared. They've had time. Obviously, we didn't involve any of them against Wasps, so they should be up and running, ready to go. Hopefully they'll be fully energised, which they should be. They've looked very good in training so far. 2 fantastic training days, I have to say. If we can put a training day in today like we've had the last 2 days, I'll be really starting to look at us and can really see the kind of the pot boiling, so to speak. we can then wrap it up on Friday in the team run and just get that last bit of kind of mental and emotional preparation ready, because we don't want to get too emotional about everything quite yet. We want to just train really well with good intensity and then let the kind of emotion take over from Friday onwards. But we look like a set of players who are ready to do some good things, and that feels good to me.
I imagine there's a steely focus amongst them, but also they've had that big game experience now. They're used to playing in semi-finals to finals. Does that come into play now at times like this?
You've got to hope that the semi-final experience counts at semi-final time. I think finals are different, if I'm honest with you. I think what's involved around a semi-final is getting it emotionally right, but also getting it, that not letting the emotions rule everything. By the time you get to a final, I think the emotion becomes even more important, because the dealing with the highs and lows of it, even before you arrive at the game, becomes so much more important. For a semi-final, it's about going out there and putting in a really, really good performance. Yes, you have to put a lot of energy into it. Yes, you do have to put an emotional drive into it, but you have to actually play really well, because if you look at the games we played in the semi-final, they've all been, you could describe as good games, really. What might be slightly different this year, and people haven't really started talking about it yet, is obviously weather conditions are going to be noticeably different. I think in all our semi-finals, I think we only played once when the pitch was even damp, but it ended up being a nice day with a slightly damp pitch. Every other day's been a lovely day, just breezy, not windy. That's going to change. There's rain about coming at the moment. It should tidy up for the weekend, but it will be a different environment. It'll probably be a different game of rugby to you're normally seeing around semi-final, final time, due to the weather, and obviously due to the run of the season.
Are you expecting to see a different Bath to what you faced that last game before lockdown?
Oh, 100%. I mean, you can't compare the two, can you? Either with playing personnel, because I think it was international window, so none of us had our international players playing. And Bath have obviously shown a different run of form. They're the form side pretty much, aren't they? Coming out of lockdown, they look like they're enjoying their rugby. They look like they understand what they're doing. That makes any team a challenge. The coaches are more settled in now. So I think we've got to go into the game with an understanding we have to be at our best. You should be. That's what semi-finals are about. Semi-finals are the best 4 teams in the Premiership. They should be tough, shouldn't they? They shouldn't be easy, and that's what we've got to prepare ourselves for.